Welcome to Diversity Conversations, where we engage in thought-provoking dialogue to identify leadership solutions to today's most challenging conflicts. Streamed live each week, Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hosted by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist and CEOs Eric Ellis and Tommy Lewis. Join us and add your voice to this engaging diversity conversation.
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis, and I'm the president and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation, and I'm joined this morning by my good friend and brother,
Tommy Lewis, president and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. Good morning, Eric.
What's up, Tommy? Good morning, man. How are you, sir?
It's a great morning, this beautiful Saturday morning, the last weekend of the year, and we're here. We've made it. Not only you and I, Eric, but all of us have made it.
That's right. I think you said that the last weekend of the year, and we're here.
Oh, that
was nice. Well, we are delighted to be here with you all, to be together. I was in Hawaii the last time and enjoyed watching Tommy and you all, the community. I was jealous because y'all were having such a wonderful conversation about dealing with challenging personalities. And I started thinking about all the people in my life. And then Tommy was saying at times we can be challenging as well. So I really enjoyed the show, but I'm very, very grateful to be with you all. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, we certainly did. Tommy, we did something different.
Yeah.
We came back from Hawaii, man, and just had a wonderful family dinner. And Jillian curated all these games.
Okay.
And we were literally playing games as a family. And we had a ball. It was like the best Christmas. No exchange of big gifts where everybody's looking around to see who got what. Jillian just had these wonderful games, with cups and the Grinch, and you had to sort of, poke a hole in the cup and then get out the prize. And it might say the Grinch stole your gift.
Yeah.
And then we played this wonderful game of, there was these stacks of cups, ping pong ball at the top. And so you had to take it and try to, get them stacked all up without losing the ping pong ball.
Yeah.
So Tommy, I saw a red carpet sort of cleaning bottle and the top was red. So while nobody was looking, I unscrewed the top, put it on top of the cup. I said, let's all put our heads down and pray before we start. Literally, I know God wasn't happy. I pulled him into my scandal. And I put the top on the top of my cup and the ping pong ball was never going to fall out. So I'm like, I won. Everybody said, how did he win? And I said, well, I had this
Cheater.
So I'm screaming his head. Really? You're just gonna cheat? So much for that, man. We had a ball. And then we had this blindfold game. Oh, Tommy, this was hilarious. With bows and dollars. And so we had bows and dollars. You had to put a blindfold on and spin you around. Then you had a spatula and a plate. And you had to try to, and then I sweetened up the pot by throwing a 50 out there, a few 20s.
Yep.
So now everybody said, oh man, it was hilarious. People were just putting empty stuff into their plates. So.
Yeah. So these are memories, Eric, that the family will remember. Just as you're recanting on the events now, the energy, the emotions that you're feeling, they feel the same way. Gifts are one thing, but memories are another. Right. So sometimes we use the gift that we receive. Sometimes we don't. But the memory, when there's a indelible mark on our life, we can recall. You remember back in Christmas in 2024. Right.
That's exactly right.
That's what it's all about.
And it's a beautiful thing when your children are now old enough that they can really plan out the event.
Yeah.
So mom and dad is just kind of sitting there,
back.
And the children are doing a lot of the things. And I just want to say that to all of you. Gifts are a beautiful thing. So if you all gave a lot of gifts and had a wonderful time, that's really powerful. That's a blessing. It can be encouraging. It can send the feelings of love. But for those of us, especially in these difficult economic times, you can do some things that will be far more powerful than giving a gift to somebody. And that's having an experience. So grateful for that.
Yeah. And speaking of gifts, Eric, I realized that this holiday season, Christmas season, that I literally have everything that I want and need.
Exactly.
I'm
tell
really,
people for
I
10
really
years,
do.
don't buy me nothing.
Don't buy me nothing. I'm good. I'll get you something, that you need. But you unwrapping some gifts brings me joy. You getting what you want. I don't need anything.
No.
I work throughout the course of the year. I smell the roses. I'm thankful for the blessings.
Right.
And by the end of the year, if I could get just a few days that I can just do nothing, that is the greatest gift to me.
Exactly.
Right. Fall asleep when I want to, wake up, watch a ball game, grab a bite to eat, munch on some popcorn, fall asleep while I'm munching on popcorn. I'm in heaven, right? And not looking at my watch,
right?
Not looking at a calendar,
right?
Just being with the family, right? So kudos to all those families and friends out there that were able to enjoy one another. And we're still keeping in prayer, Eric, those who are indeed less fortunate, those who are still trying to find their way. And that's part of our discussion today as we move into 2025, right? Is, just being bold, being unapologetically, affirmative, and confirming one another unapologetically.
Right. And expecting.
Yeah.
Right. And so what we're going to do then is we're going to bring up, our topic for today is how to thrive in 2025.
Yes, sir.
Since this is our last show of the year, we wanted to make sure that we provided with you all, for you all, some tips, things that you may want to consider as you're thinking about 2025. And I'm going to say to you that I'm hopeful that you're not just putting together New Year's resolutions that you never get around to. The times that we're living in, I think, require us, Tommy, to really put in place plans for achieving something great and really fulfilling your potential. That's what this is about from Tommy and my perspective, is that we want to help you to achieve your full potential. You don't have to be anybody else but yourself. As I said, that I just now launched last week my music project, My Sound. And so I'm so grateful that my son and I, Ethan, have been working on this for the last 2 years. But I'm a grinder. I'm a person that will see something to completion. And so even though it took us 2 years, we put together something that I'm very proud of. And it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. But it is my sound, and it is each song reflects a philosophy, a value, something about me that I believe and I wanted to share with others in the world. And what we want to help you do is to identify what are those things inside of you that you need to be able to achieve. And so I'll start by, I saw Tommy had you all, invited you all to join the conversation as we're moving into 2025. One of the things that we wanted to do was look for new ways to engage our community, which is you. Roger, thank you for joining us. And so here's how you can join us right away today. You can join the conversation by plugging this link into your browser. And then if you have a camera on your computer, then you will come up backstage. You'll join Lydia, our producer, backstage, and she'll bring you to we'll bring you to the stage. Tommy and I will give you at least 2 minutes to either make a comment or ask a question. And then we will take you off the stage to make room for other guests. But we believe that this is a new way of us engaging you, our community, in ways that will make our show even better. Tommy, you want to say anything?
Yeah, Eric, I think this is a fantastic idea for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, our community, which we cherish and appreciate and respect so much, you are very much a part of this conversation. And so we want to give you some shine as well, to not only allow us to repeat what you've written in the chat room, but actually to see a face, to hear a voice. I think that's important. And then the other thing, Eric, is that I believe with our community, there are other members in the space that people are listening. And so not just our one community member, but there may be a sibling and maybe a son or a daughter that may say, hey, I have something to say.
Yeah.
Allow them to join as well, right? This is because there may be 4 or 5 people listening in one space.
Right.
Join the show.
That's right.
Join
That's
the show.
right.
Let's bring the diversity of thought, diversity of experiences. We can agree, we can disagree, we can share some input. We may again ask a question for clarification, but just get involved.
Right. As far as Tommy and I are concerned, you don't have to go to the powder room and make yourself pretty.
Right.
Just jump on in whatever way makes you comfortable. And Roger, I'm going to ask you to sort of join in this conversation today because Roger has some military experience. I don't know anybody that is as detailed and as honorable around achieving things, making goals, having principles as Roger Miller. So Roger, I'm going to ask you to kind of join us as we get into our topic for today. And you're right, a two-way conversation is the only and best way to communicate. We love that. So let's move to our sort of how to thrive in 2025. And Tommy and I will take these sort of every other one. 7 powerful ways to achieve your full potential as part of your New Year's resolution. And so the first one, Tommy, why don't you go ahead and start with that?
Yes, set clear, meaningful goals, Eric. Set clear, meaningful goals. So I have found myself over the years, I do set goals, but sometimes I'm unclear. To be honest, Eric, sometimes I may not even believe in the goal that I set for myself.
Right.
I just think that this is something I should achieve. And so I'm going to put that on my goal list. In reality, it may not be meaningful. And I find out, Eric, when it's not meaningful, when I don't put the effort to achieve the goal. It's really a flash in the pan. So what we're talking about now is when we're setting clear goals, I think we can be selfish with the goals that we want to achieve, right? In other words, I would not say to set a goal that others want us to achieve such that when we achieve them, it makes them happy. I wouldn't recommend that.
Right.
That could be a little bit fickle. And if the person says, well, I don't really like the goal that you set, and then now we go into some negative spiral.
Right.
But if we stay positive, set a clear goal, a meaningful goal, and a goal that really hits our mind, our heart, and our hands at the same time. So it's when we think about it, it makes sense to us. When we pray about it, it is an answer to a prayer. And when we start to do it, it's not labor, it's actually the blessing or the ability to achieve it. It's not really work. That's what I think when setting clear and meaningful goals.
Right. I love it. So for those of you, many of you in our community may have heard of SMART goals, but some of you may not have. And so for those of you that may not have heard of the acronym SMART, what it says is that as you think about setting your goals for 2025, they should be specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and have a time bound to them. And so, because there's no way to achieve anything, actually, if you're not sort of being specific about that. What is it that you want to do? If you have a business and it's not growing, well, what are you shooting for? What are you going after? What is it that you're specifically trying to accomplish? Is it something that you can measure? Do you have some real actions that are tied to that? Is it realistic? And do you have a time frame? And so that's one of the things that, although Tommy and I teach it a lot, I'm not sure that we always do it in the way that we need to around our business. We do that for our clients all the time, but it's kind of like the barber whose hair is a mess. So I'm going to say to you all that there are some things that you can accomplish in 2025, but it will start with you putting together SMART goals.
So I'm going to share very quickly, Eric, one of my goals for 2025 on the business front. And I've been struggling with this over many, many years. And a lot of it is because of my pride, ego, and fear. But I've decided to do away with pride, ego, and fear. This year, Make It Plain Consulting will identify and begin the process of getting into our own property. Right? For 15 years, we've been renting in a beautiful facility, and we have a wonderful landlord. He's a serial property owner. He owns many, many commercial properties. He's been very, very kind to me and Make It Plain. And I appreciate that. But there's another thing that I've always dreamt about is to see my own property. I own my own home, and every time I go home, I say, you know, that's mine. I pay on it every month, etc. But for Make It Plain, that hasn't happened. And again, in the past, there has been some fear around. So if we get into this building, this property, will we have enough revenue, cash flow every month to take care of this, that, and the third? And a lot of people have said, don't worry about that, right? So I'm going to ask the community, those who are familiar with property management or purchasing properties in the greater Cincinnati area specifically, reach out to me.
And you know who's the ace in that space is your sister.
Yes, indeed.
Felicia.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
Yeah, Felicia Bell.
I need to reach out to Felicia, and we need to get in something. Ideally, it may be an older home, or maybe a empty and available bank branch. Ideally, that's what it is. Some parking in a ranch. I don't need a lot of floors. Just need some storage space. Just want to put that out there. That's what is going to happen in 2025.
I'm just shaking my head over here. You know, it's funny that Tommy and I always think that we're doing a program and planning for y'all. And then God says, what y'all think y'all doing? I mean, so let me just build on what Tommy just said. And I'm going to take a piece of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in on that goal too. You've heard the term that some people have a poverty mentality.
Yes.
Well, we wouldn't buy that for ourselves, but in many ways it's true. Tommy and I have made millions of dollars. We could have bought buildings over and over again. We just have not decided to experience that which our gifts and talents have already made enough room for that to happen.
Yes, Eric.
And so now we're sitting here doing a show, Thrive in 2025 for you all. And it is really allowing us to gain greater clarity around the importance of us maximizing the moment, as T.D. Jakes used to say. Maximizing the moment, maximizing your skills and talents. For those of you that are sitting around concerned about what's going to happen in the political sphere, I would say to you that that's a waste of time and energy. All you actually have to do is look at the things that you have within your own hands and decide to activate those things in order to achieve more for yourself, but far more importantly, to achieve more for your community and others around us.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's powerful, man. Let's go to the next one. We'll bring back up our 7 sort of ways, powerful ways to achieve your full potential. Number 2 is prioritize self-discipline and consistency. Prioritize self-discipline and consistency. And so I know one of the things that I do is I love to get up and get to work. I'm disciplined around that. Consistency is something that we want to be doing on a regular basis. Self-discipline means that you've got to delay the things that you enjoy doing until you get the things that you're supposed to do and need to do done. Now, I love my music, and I went through a period, Tommy, probably about 10 years ago, where I was just checked out of business, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in the studio every day, and my brother and my administrative assistant would have to come fish me out of the studio. Like, Eric, the business is suffering. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
I'm just down here singing my heart out.
Hey,
Off the sound.
pull the plug.
Pull the plug. And so finally I made up then a formula for myself that I couldn't do music until all of my real priority work was done.
Okay.
And so then I wasn't down there for a long time because I had a lot of work that I was supposed to be done. But I'm going to say to you that if you know that there are things that you enjoy doing that get in the way of things that you need to be doing, make time and find some self-discipline to do the things that you need to do on a consistent basis.
And with self-discipline, Eric, we do have to be honest with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes when that self-discipline starts to erode, we begin to rationalize why we can't do something.
Right.
Or why we've pivoted to do something else. We rationalize our own lack of self-discipline.
Mm-hmm.
When we've set the course and we're moving toward that course, we have to be disciplined and consistent.
Right.
So we can't say, I'm going to start this new regimen.
Right.
And then 1 week, 2 weeks in, we start to teeter, start to fall off. And then we say, got some other things I need to take care of, got the family, got the business, got my own personal stuff. I'll get back on this in a couple of weeks. And then we say, after a couple of weeks, I'll get back on it in a month.
Mm-hmm.
We then have lost self-discipline. Right. And we don't even know it. We've fallen back into the same routine that we're trying to break by setting goals, by being self-disciplined, by being consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, just taking a look at myself, there are some unfinished projects.
Mm-hmm.
I've started them. I had some inspiration, some energy around them.
Right.
And then
Peter's out.
And I'm looking around. Need to have discipline, get some closure, and then experience the blessing and the success of consistency. Create that new behavior that is almost unconscious.
Yep. I love that. So small daily efforts can compound into big results. I remember when Judy, Jillian, and I decided, Tommy, you remember this, that we were going to get up and do exercises together. One of the things I would say to you is that sometimes you can't get these things done all by yourself. You got to get a partner. You got to get somebody else that can work with you on that. When Judy, Jillian, and I started working together, man, one would be tired, but the other two would be up. Two would be tired, one would be up. And the three of us were able to get each other up in order to achieve the things that we most wanted to achieve. And we did that until Judy's doctor said, hey, the most important thing for you to do is get more sleep and get more rest. So I'm going to say to you all that there are things that you need to do that will improve the quality of your life. And so that's what Tommy and I are saying, is that create some self-discipline around that, because it's going to make your life better. And that's what we're talking about there. Let's move to the third one, Tommy. We'll bring this back up and see. And then community, if you want to join in, if anybody wants to jump on with us, we welcome you. The third one, Tommy?
Yeah, focus on personal growth. And I want to hear from the community here, Eric, as well. But I'll share this and then throw it to you and then throw it to our community. Personal growth for 2025. Here is what I am determined to grow in. I am determined to have more self-control over my own hot button triggers. I am simply not going to let other people or situations get me all knotted up, because I've learned time and time again, and life has taught me that these are oftentimes moments or seasons. And if I'm having a challenging, courageous, or diverse conversation, my personal growth is to listen more than talk. I'm going to listen before I respond. I'm going to listen before I even think. I'm going to listen to myself. How much does this matter? If it matters to me, like this is building me up, this is encouraging, I'm learning something, I will then follow with the additional questions. But if it's something that's said that in years past would have me pop off, I'm going to arrest that, Eric.
Yeah.
I spend too much energy focusing on people who I believe are not focusing on me. They are absolutely living debt-free, rent-free in my whole mind, body, and soul. They're just taking over. So my personal growth is to calm down, chill, and take it easy.
I love that, Tommy. And Dr. Gibbs, we're certainly glad to have you join us with this wonderful comment. I love watching the Warriors, so I decided to work out while watching them, or I cannot watch them until I have worked out that day. This forces me to have discipline, and we love that. Dr. Gibbs, Rhonda, I would say, I don't know if you saw that we are inviting our community to join us on air. So we have our link here. If you want to join us today and make any other comments around how you are planning to thrive in 2025, it will take people like you and Roger and others to decide that we want to achieve more. We're already sort of high achievers. And sometimes when you're a high achiever, you're looking around and saying, hey, I can chill.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already been successful enough. There's no such thing as successful enough if you actually realize what your purpose is. See, your purpose is beyond financial success or material success. It's about being effective. It's about delivering to your family, to your community, to the world around you, the best you that you can deliver. And I would say that underachieving at that, or just running past people that ain't that talented or gifted, I mean, you ain't said nothing.
Right.
Oh, I zoomed by all those folks. Well, no, you haven't accomplished all that God created you to accomplish. And what I'm finding is that as I lean in to what God has created me to do, it gives my life more joy. That's what I'm seeing, Tommy. And so here's a couple of other tips around sort of focusing on personal growth. Commit to lifelong learning. So for me, I do see myself as a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
And I enjoy, whether it's reading articles, reading a book, listening to other insights. I enjoy finding ways to get better because in many ways, your breakthrough is simply an insight away. Your breakthrough is simply an insight away. And so when you get an insight, that might be the thing that takes you to that next level that you're trying to accomplish. Seek feedback and reflect on your progress regularly. My wife, Judy, has the gift of insightful feedback. She's really anointed with the feedback. And I'm oftentimes the benefactor of that gift. Now, the gift is real.
Yeah.
What I've said to her is, can we use a technique? Oreo cookie. Say something positive, give you the constructive criticism, then end with a positive. But I would say to you that if you were as blessed as I am to have someone in your life with a wise insight, someone who loves you deeply and is thinking about your best. So where her gift comes from, it doesn't come from a place of trying to beat you down or hurt you or harm you. It actually comes from a place of trying to give you everything that I can to make you better. And you best believe that I'll joke about it, but I'm taking notes when Judy's talking. And I have a family like that. But I'd say within your families, try to avoid giving people unsolicited feedback, because that never really goes right. But I'm saying to those of you in our community, seek feedback.
Yeah.
Don't wait for somebody to try to give it to you. Seek feedback, because as you get some of those wise insights, then it can make you that much better, because then you're not just depending on what you know, but you're benefiting from what other people around you that love you know as well.
Yeah, I think that's great, Eric. And seeking and receiving feedback is a skill as well. Here's why. Because a lot of people love to give advice about other people's lives.
Right.
And so if you're seeking feedback, there are folks waiting and chomping at the bit to say, I'm so glad that you're asking me to give you feedback, because your entire life is all broken up and I have the answer.
Right.
Here are the 18,000 things that you should do to fix you. And they start to go through the list.
Right.
And at one point, if you're not careful, as you're getting beat up with this quote unquote constructive feedback, you may turn around and say, what the hell are you doing with your life? Right? So,
this is fight now.
So now we have to, okay, I did ask for the feedback. You're giving me feedback from your perspective. I'm going to ask another person for feedback on me. It may be different. And then I'll ask a third person. And what is the theme that I can take away from the 3 different pieces of feedback? What's the core theme? What's the common denominator? And for people to give you feedback, they have to care to some level. If they do not say anything, they don't care. Right. Hey, do you mind giving me some feedback? I mean, you're doing great. Is that it? Yeah. Keep it moving. Right. So that's something to know too. When folks are giving thought or energy to you, it's for a reason, right? Good or bad or indifferent.
We were just talking about and you can join us. You can join us and talk about how you plan, because she is on it. I know she got her plan set for 2025 and how to thrive, because that's the kind of person that Felicia and Tommy have always been. High achievers, high IQ, high motivation individuals. We thank you for joining us this morning, Felicia. We both love you and would invite you to join the stage with us. Because together there's something that we can achieve that's so powerful. I know that we don't even understand how powerful we are as people. Let me give you all some insight on where we are and where the enemy has us right now. The place that we are right now is that we are all so busy and so exhausted. By the time we get to the end of our day, we don't have any energy left oftentimes to network, to close arms with each other. Tommy and I started this journey 6 years ago. We were certain that we would not be still going at this point. Right. Because our lives were too busy. And we were wore out by all the stuff that we had to do. So Tommy bailed at one time, and he bailed right before I was about to bail. And then I said, well, I guess I can't bail right now. Tommy just left. And so then the good news was that while I'm treading water, God started talking to him and forced him back into the game. Now, we can tell you that doing this show together has been such an extraordinary blessing for us.
Yes, sir.
But here's what I want to say to you, community, that you are too busy right now trying to accomplish your set of goals by yourself. Breaking news. We have got to force more time into our schedule to really set up. I mean, Felicia, I'm just thinking about you. I'm just thinking about Dr. Gibbs. I'm thinking about Roger. If we all just met once a quarter,
come on,
and said, what are you doing? How can I help? Is there anything that you're doing that I can help with? Who are you trying to meet? We can get anything that we're trying to accomplish. We can get it done if we focus on getting it done together. So part of the way that we thrive in 2025 is to get up out of that hole of working all by yourself and network with some others to see what we can accomplish that God wants us to accomplish together.
Eric, that's fantastic. The motto is, we are not alone. 2025, we are not alone. Be intentional about coming together as a community. We talk about that every Saturday morning. We talk about that in passing. We're the community. This is our family, etc. Let's go beyond talking the talk and now walking the walk. That's good word, E.
Right. And here's somebody, thank you, Ursula. That is, we meet every Tuesday at noon at the United Nations Permanent Forum on people of African descent on Zoom. That's excellent. Yep. Something else that you're saying, just showing us how we can get connected with each other and find your rhythm, find your community, but find somebody that you can spend some time working together. Because Roger says we are not alone. Yep. And I just, I feel strongly about there's going to be a desperate need for us to do this. This thing used to be a luxury.
Yes.
Something that we could sit back and if you had time, you know, you could do it, make it happen. But I'm saying to you that this is no longer a luxury. It's a requirement for survival. It's a requirement for us to achieve all that we want to achieve, is making space for each other and making sure, Tommy, that when I come together with you, that is time that's value added time.
Yeah. So Herschel, who said it? Roger, I believe, or Herschel, that coming together via Zoom or any other social platform. I think that's a great idea because as you were reading what he was saying, Eric, I was thinking that sometimes we as a community, we may silo ourselves to our most immediate geographic location. In other words, we may say, what's my connection with people in my city? Right. I'm saying let's become global. Right. We don't always have to just meet for a coffee or for lunch with the people in our immediate area. Use the platforms that are available to us to cross boundaries and borders. Borders are not the wall. Borders are the opportunity to expand. So it should be North America, Canada, the US, Mexico. It should be the Western Hemisphere. I'm saying that, Eric, because even last year, wife and I took a trip to Rome, Italy. And I remember reaching out to my good friend, Alexandro, who's Roman, and he came and picked us up from the airport, from the hotel, and took us around Rome for 6 or 7 hours. That was my global connection. My wife was like, wow, you know people from everywhere. And I said, no, I met them years ago from a coaching program. And I'm waiting for Alexandro and others to contact me and tell me they're going to be in my city. I'm waiting to reciprocate that fellowship. Because he said, hey, I'll take you out to eat and all that good stuff. I'm like, what type of person is he to expand my experience like that? There's some fantastic people in this world. We need to bond and connect with one another. Don't allow time zones to be the barrier. Don't allow differences of gender, orientation, political views, and all that. Don't allow those to be the barrier. Cross over and expand and just literally blow up. Eric was saying earlier, and those who are less familiar, check out My Sound. Eric's musical project is phenomenal. I listened to it once very quickly just to be
a good friend,
a good friend, and just listen to music.
Okay.
And then the second time, I was drawn back to it, and I was listening to the stories. I wonder where Eric was when he was writing this song. I wonder what was going on in his life writing this song, because I could feel the energy. Music, when done well, can do that. It can do that. Meaning, music is something that is appreciated in all cultures around the world, music and food.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can't come together physically to break bread,
Right.
let us get on the same rhythm, Eric, across media to say, how can I help you? How might you be able to help me? And our worlds will get bigger, and that sound of positivity will dwarf the sounds of negativity.
Mm.
That's our goal for 2025.
And so, as Tommy talks about it, My Sound, that's the name of my project. And it's because I've written over 300 songs in my life. And I finally started working with my youngest son, Ethan, 2 years ago. And I wrote the insert to my project that went something like this. All of my life, I've been looking for somebody to help me bring forth my sound. I didn't really ever know that someone would be in my house. I said that I've written over 300 songs, most of them mediocre, but every once in a while, you'll find a song, you'll write a song that inspires you, and you're at the beginning of something that might inspire others. But I also said that when you've written your best song, everybody's not going to like every lyric, everybody's not going to like every melody, but it is your sound, and everybody has a sound. And so when Tommy talks about listening to that and the stories behind it, what that means is that for me, once I got the project done, I did my assignment. That was to get the project done.
Yeah.
I believe that God does the rest. Whatever will happen with it, that's on God. I did my part. My part was to get the project completed. And when Tommy says, I mean, there are tears on those songs. There were situations, the song Miracles, I know that it's not a traditionally written song, but it's an experience, it's a belief, it's survival. It's the way I survived a period of time because God came with miracles.
Yes,
I mean, it's everything. When I didn't have enough money to pay my bills, you brought miracles, and I said it in a way that is unique to me. When my kids were going through things in high school and they just were out there doing all kind of weird things, and parents are stupid and dumb and all like that.
Yeah.
I wrote a song that says, I'll be there. And, and so I'm just grateful that the project that I got a chance to complete was My Sound. And what Tommy and I are saying is that whether it's in music or whether it's a hobby or whether it's a goal that you have or a business that you want to start or a nonprofit that you want to start, you have a sound. And we want to encourage you to make that happen and to connect with others of us that are very interested. Here's what I would say to you. Tommy, when you were talking about going global, here's what I'll say to you, that I don't think anyone can come to this earth and make it all by yourself. We are built to be together in teams, in community. And I believe that there are some of you in our community that could spend almost full time just trying to push Tommy and I all over the world. Not for Tommy and I, but for what that might generate for a broader group of people.
Right.
I'll say one last thing about Leanne Gordon. If you've never heard of her, she's an older woman that's a comedian. She's funny as all get out. I saw her on who is it? Hoda and Jen. Their talk show. So they had her on there, and she just got discovered. One of her grandchildren put her on TikTok. She went viral, and now she's in movies and everything. I'm saying to you that we are simply a discovery away from having a greater impact. And so when Tommy said global, I know there are some of you that could push Tommy globally, and the marketplace is unending. We've got to begin to think like that and to achieve like that. Tommy,
yeah. So we want to bring up a guest. We have our community is chiming in, right? You've been waiting there. Thanks for your patience. Got Brother Herschel. Welcome, my friend. Share your
It's
thoughts.
been years since I talked to
It
y'all.
is, and you look the same other than the gray beard.
Yeah, well, that was after heart attack number 6 and 7, and heart surgery 10, and 2 rounds of COVID.
Okay.
So I re-engaged into the public schools again. Okay, all right. So I brought Wall Street with me. Okay, we're gonna have a meeting at 2:30, and so because I was one of the original creators of the Cincinnati Empowerment Corporation.
I remember that.
Okay, well, he turned it over to me before he died. Okay, Robert O'Neill.
Okay.
Okay, and so I've been doing the work. And so when you were saying about the connectivity, for those of us who know who Marcus Garvey is,
yeah,
and that said, I wanted to create one organization to represent all Black folk, which made him the threat that he was at the time.
Sure.
We got it done August 2nd, 2021. The nations of the world voted, including the United States, after some prompting, okay, to create the permanent forum on people of African descent. So we're now going to have the 4th session in New York at the headquarters of the United Nations. But come January 20th, at the MLK March from Cincinnati, we're creating hashtag strong Black towns. See, the CBC and everybody downtown was doing the strong towns.
Yeah, I went to that.
Right. So now what we kicked off as part of that, as part of the World Conference of Mayors, hashtag strong Black towns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so on January 20th, what we're doing is we're taking what Martin Luther King said, is that when he was speaking to Harry Belafonte, Andrew Young, and all of them at his home, that he was afraid that he was bringing us into a burning house. People talk about that, but they don't take what he said also when Harry Belafonte, what do we do about that, Martin?
Yep.
That, well, I guess we'll have to be the firemen.
Yep, that's it.
So we're going to show that. I'm a fireman. I'm a Navy fireman, nuclear, biological, chemical, that type, cut the hose, save the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So from Cincinnati, it's my proposition that 2 or more of us coming together in Cincinnati, that we can show the way by the Cincinnati public schools and reforming them. And I'm bringing the money because I helped sign as a national coalition the PNC $88 billion agreement. All thing you gotta do is type in NCRC, PNC, right, 88B, it'll pop up.
Yep.
So last year, they got about 30 billion in that agreement left. I'm looking to bring 12.5 billion to Cincinnati, to the Cincinnati public schools for the next 25 years. So we don't have to worry about what our children's children. For me, I got great grandchildren in Montessori. I got, a whole bunch of family, but I got 3 grandchildren that I'm worried about. So I went to the meeting, I re-engaged, the board voted. They have a community program that they said the superintendent will negotiate a partnership. Just like y'all are talking about, when you're talking about how God worked for you when you were in your lowest and business and et cetera. Let's think about how many people do you know have 7 heart attacks, died a couple times, couple rounds of COVID. Heart is now, they repaired it in 2022, quadruple bypass, and then I caught COVID 23 and 24, 48% of it's dead. Thank you, Christ Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, let me ask you this, Herschel. I want to jump in and let Tommy jump in there. So I know you as a man of honor, honesty, and great character. So that's the way I see you. You've always been community-minded, fair, honest, and wanting to do the right thing. Unfortunately, it oftentimes feels like we as a people don't trust each other enough. And it doesn't feel like we always get enough access to being able to control resources ourselves. They are sort of given over to institutions that are often controlled by the dominant culture and not us. How do you see this being different?
Because I spoke to the dominant power brokers in the world. I'm in the United Nations. So we just had the meeting at the United Nations Summit of the Future. I had delegates in there. Okay, because most people don't know what I've been doing since they destroyed the empowerment zone. Okay, see, Jenny Lassiter prepared me for communities because I come from Shaker Heights.
Yeah.
I had never experienced the poverty that I experienced when I came to Cincinnati.
Right.
Because I wouldn't sell out.
Right.
So the gatekeepers who are still here, and fine, not disturbing their wheelhouse unless they get in the way this time.
Right.
This time, I'm talking to the CBC. And see, if people don't know who the Cincinnati Business Committee is, then they're not part of this discussion. Okay, all three of us know who the CBC is. We know their children. We know that what's happened. I'm not trying to bust anybody's role on this unless they get in the way of putting it into place. Because, when I talked to Kroger based on their 300 jewelry stores that get their jewelry, diamonds, and gold from site holders, but they don't get it from the site holders who get it from Africa. So when you go to my website, you'll see that we brought the president of Kenya in May of last year, and our keynote speaker was the president of Liberia. Africa has a plan.
What's your website?
Blackfolksplan.org, same as my book, Black Folks Plan.
So that's
okay.
excellent, Herschel. So
all right.
I ask before we transition again, thank you for joining us this morning. I want to ask you, as we think about our audience being global, the vast majority of our community members are not in the tri-state area of Kentucky, Ohio, or Indiana. The vast majority are across the world. What recommendation and or advice might you offer to our global citizens who are looking to really galvanize the energies to really move forward their own respective communities? What do you recommend?
We're two tracks. One is a Black folks track. As a Black folk, we have an organization for all 1.6 billion of us. It's done. We don't have to try and join the African Union and all that, even though I'm a diplomat for an African nation previously, except we don't have to do that now. We got one organization for us, and we the biggest, baddest Black folk in the world here in the United States to begin with. We got to recognize that. So that's a change, right? So President Biden on December 24th, he signed into law that next year, President Trump is going to have to hold a second Africa USA Leadership Summit. It's the law. 24 million in the budget, done, got it signed on the 24th. Then the year after has to hold a mini summit of cities. Okay. So I'm the World Conference of Mayors, right, for the Permanent Forum on People of African Descent. That's that Tuesday meeting. So no matter who's watching, wherever they are watching this right now, they can start to get prepared to create their own strong Black town with the UN, and we in Cincinnati will show them the way.
Yeah.
So we kicked that off. That's why I said for the music part, I didn't know you were doing the music part, but we kicked it off at Bootsy's birthday down at the library.
Yeah.
And, for me, we had to have a Kappa walk, right? Okay. All right. But it's a D9 move. Okay. It's bringing everything together. If you want to be part of the change, the tools are there. Okay. And we're going to show you the way in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And, y'all have been there. Okay. Because I've watched you for those years. Okay. But, don't be despaired. And let me leave you with this. Anybody who tells you about the 400 years of slavery in America, they lie. Okay. The country's only 248 years old. We had 89 years of slavery, 1776 to 1865. Our ancestors didn't become citizens till 1868. Then they were handed apartheid, right? to 1965. And so you hear about this whole debate about immigration and et cetera. Our schools have failed to turn out a generation that's competitive in STEM. All right, that's just the reality.
I think that is a great, as we let you go here, I think that's a great opportunity for our entire community in 2025 to be well informed, well connected, and well driven toward whatever their goal is. Right. I think that's good.
Yeah. And my final word, Herschel, is I'd like to make sure that let's get together early part of next week just to
Sure.
chat in more detail around the things that you're doing. Thank you for being our first guest that's joined us from our community, and you came with a powerful message. Take care.
No problem. Okay.
Right. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, that was outstanding, man. And that's the kind of thing that we know. So let's just look at what we have just done. So Tommy and I had a desire, and I'll tell you, to be honest with you, that oftentimes speakers, people that do what Tommy and I do, think that the best things have been said once you finish your speech or your podcast. But Tommy and I recognized that there was something greater than just the magic of he and I together, but that we would get even exponentially more powerful as we begin to invite you into that conversation. And you can see right there by our first guest that we've now added another dimension of this conversation that's going to make us collectively more successful and more powerful.
Yeah, I think it's a good practice to be able to speak one's truth, Eric, particularly going into 2025, and then to also listen to and receive other truths.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean by that is we can get into our own silo and echo chamber of thought, right? In anything we do.
That's right.
If it's setting a goal, if it's being consistent, if it's personal growth, whatever the case may be, we can find ourselves kind of narrowly focused on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we want to achieve that one or a few things, but then, as you mentioned before, as trying to connect the community across the globe, there may be different people with different experiences, which may offer a different way to the same desired outcome.
Say it, Tommy.
There is not one way to do anything.
Say it, Tommy. Say it,
so
Tommy.
we want to be able to really understand what are the different ways, particularly if my way has not actually worked, right? And so I may try again my way and it doesn't work again. I may try, hold on, I'll pivot and try again my way, it doesn't work. Do it a different way. We have to allow folks to say, well, I'm in this part of the world. I don't even know what the United States really is. I don't know what the Midwest is, or Ohio, or Cincinnati, for crying out loud. But we've been doing what we've been doing for 1,000 years. Try that out for size.
Right.
Again, Herschel said, we're a young country. Sure, there are different ways to get the desired outcome.
And what Tommy and I are about, I'm so glad you said that, Tommy, and I'm so glad you clarified that. There are, as my friend Herschel says, 1.6 billion people of African descent in the world. And I would say that, Tommy, one of the things that shuts us down is that we sometimes think that there's just one way to get there, or one right group, or one worthy approach. And I would say, as Tommy has said here, there are a number of different ways to get there. We're saying lean into one of those that fits for you. Because I have this belief that so often we focus so heavily on the poor that we ignore the people that are trying to make that breakthrough to wealth through generational wealth. And we've got to be okay with that as well. We've got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. Because if we're not pushing some people through that glass ceiling, we're going to constantly be begging somebody else to invest in our visions for our community. And so Tommy has said there are multiple ways. Find the ones that line up with you, maybe more than one. And in 2025, make sure that you're sowing into something that can make a difference.
That's what we're trying to do. Thrive in 2025. We're trying to thrive. We're not focusing on the negative. We're not focusing on the he said, she said, Eric. We're not focusing on those who have no power over our destiny to determine how we proceed. Let me repeat that. We're not focusing on others who have no power over our destiny to determine how we proceed. In 2025, we are unapologetically moving forward together. Not just me solo, not just you solo. We're not working in silos. We're saying we are not alone and we will all thrive.
Say that again, Tommy. You said it twice. We're not focused on people that are.
We're not focused on people who are. In other words, let me because it was it came to me.
Yeah, I like that.
So we're not focused on people who are have no control over our destiny. Right.
Why would you waste time there?
Too much energy.
And so we thank you. This is our last show in 2024. We are delighted that you all made Tommy Lewis and Eric Ellis in Diversity Conversations a part of your routine. You are making us better. And we are grateful to be on this journey with you as we look up to discover God's plan for us collectively. But I can tell you this, that it is good and that it is for us to prosper and it is for you to prosper and us collectively to make our community, this country, and the world a better place to be a part of. Tommy, thank you for being my partner, my co-host, man. And we want to invite you back next week to the first week of our Diversity Conversations. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. Bye now.
Bye now.